For many, Street Fighter is one of those games you appreciate from afar. Sure, you like that it exists and led to one of the most important video game franchises of all time, but that doesn't mean you actually want to go back and play it. Today I want to highlight one of the best and worst aspects of Capcom's 1987 fighting game, the horrendous ending. Now is the time to look away if you don't want to know what happens next, because we're about to spoil both the arcade and TurboGrafx-CD version of Street Fighter. This is 23 Endings, the early years. I don't know about you, but I'm old enough to remember playing the original Street Fighter back in the arcades. When I close my eyes, I can still picture the giant buttons you're supposed to punch and that annoying announcer trying and failing to pronounce the names of well-known countries.
USA, Japan, England.
Whether you called it Street Fighter or Fighting Street, this was not a good start for what would become one of the most popular franchises of all time. The controls are stiff, the moves are hard to pull off, there are only 2 characters to choose from, and there isn't that much story to talk about. In fact, the game never even bothers to give Ryu or Ken an incentive to fight. So, instead of making one up, I'm just gonna read exactly what is written in the Fighting Street instruction manual. Get ready for non-stop action as you take on 10 different opponents from 5 different countries in this awesome martial arts marathon. Ritsu and Geki from Japan, Joe and Mike from the US, Lee and Jen from China, Birdie and Eagle from England, and no matter which country you choose to fight in first, you'll end up facing the biggest and baddest Kung Fu Kings, Adon and Sagat from Thailand, if you're good enough. Each different opponent has their own specialty and a bag of tricks that makes this round-the-world battle a truly challenging adventure loaded with surprises. Move from country to country by defeating the 2 opponents that are out to test your best martial arts skills. Find a partner, and 2 can play simultaneously. You can choose to be Ryu, or instead opt to be Ken. Either way, your fighting street awaits you, so shape up and ship out. If you cringed throughout that description, just wait until you see how terrible this arcade ending is.
I got the best. You've now sent Street Fighter in the wild.
The 1980s were a hotbed for terrible endings, but this may be the best, worst ending of all time. Between the garbled voice and the anticlimactic King of the Hill prize, Street Fighter's conclusion has always felt like a punishment. When I look back at this game now, I'm honestly a little surprised Capcom decided to greenlight a sequel. Now, here's the moment in our show where I reveal that the people responsible for porting Street Fighter to the TurboGrafx ended up creating a better ending. Does that mean it has better voice acting, sharper graphics, a deeper story? No, it's basically the same cinema, except for one important change. Here's how Fighting Street ends.
I got the best. You've now sent Street Fighter in the wild.
Yeah, it still has the garbled voice and the stupid King of the Hill nonsense, but this ending adds an important scene where we see Ryu board an airplane. It's a simple change, but it makes a big difference. It's a great visual, and I like the not-so-subtle nod to the Hue card on the airplane. Look, these endings are terrible, but I have a hunch the garbly voiced announcer is gonna stick with you for years to come. You're welcome. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of 23 Endings, the early years. So here's the question of the day. What's your favorite Street Fighter game? Yeah, I know, there are a lot to choose from, including a few spin-offs that most people have already forgotten about. I'm a simple man, so I'd probably go with Street Fighter 2 Turbo, but I don't know, I'm also a big fan of Street Fighter Alpha 3. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below. We're down to the final 7 episodes of 23 Endings, so tune in tomorrow for a look at Gyruss on the Genesis. I recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.